Welcome to the Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast, the podcast where we make 5-minute decisions that can change your business, your relationships, and your life. This is Dean Soto with Freedom in 5 Minutes.com and Prosolim.com, and you are listening once again to the Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast. Today's podcast episode is We Forgot the Leftovers. That and more coming up. All right, welcome back to the Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast. Woo! Last few days over here have been crazy, at least with the weather. You look on the weather app and holy crap, like it's dry and it is it has the first time in my life I've ever seen where it says that it's unhealthy. It actually says in the app it'll either say unhealthy or unhealthy for sensitive groups. Either one, it's like, holy moly, I can't believe that the fires and everything like that over here in California are causing all of this as on top of the devastation. So I'm just praying for all the people who have lost their homes. We're in an area where we could have one of those happen, so I'm praying that it doesn't. Anyway, things could be worse. Things could be definitely worse. It could be just like those people who have lost their homes. So, man. Anyway, getting into today's topic. Every week, my wife and I, we do a date night. If you've heard the last few podcasts, or not the last few, but if you've heard our past podcasts, you know that we do date night. Date night is important. Every week. It is mandatory. So it's mandatory, and it's something that we hadn't done before. We've been married for 13 years, and we would do it on and off, but I actually joined this thing called Wake Up Warrior. I love it. It's awesome. It has really challenged me to do some amazing stuff that I would have never done before. And one of those things was date night. It is a mandatory thing because we spend so much time, especially as men, we spend so much time doing things like making the money, going out and working out, getting our bodies right and all that other stuff. And then we come back, or even worse, we'll invest thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to make thousands and thousands and thousands, millions of dollars. But we won't spend a single dime on the family. We won't spend a dime, at least consistently. It might be like a year, every year you go on vacation, or every 2 years you plan this amazing staycation or whatever it might be, but we don't go and actively invest in our family on a regular basis. Imagine if you had a business, or imagine if you had investments where you threw $1,000 at it every year. Is that really going to work? No. So what better investment than to invest in your wife or in your husband if you are married, or in your family, or in a significant other? Because guess what? That person affects your business. That person affects everything you do. If that person is pissed off at you, leaves, you're gone. If you're married, you guys divorce, guess what happens to all that thousands and thousands of dollars you earned? You lose half of it, along with half of your properties and houses and all these different things. So, all that being said, I make it a priority to go on these date nights. So we have the babysitter come, and we're driving down to the city. And we're just having some amazing conversations. We ended up going to this restaurant called Cool Hand Luke's. Now, if you've never been to Cool Hand Luke's, it is a really cool experience. There's a very popular chain out there called Claim Jumper. When Claim Jumper first came out, everyone was like, wow, this is so cool. The decorations are great, and they give you lots of food and all of this awesome stuff. And now Claim Jumper is kind of like, it's all right. Partially because that fad is over, and partially because it's just gone down in quality from what I can, for at least in my opinion. This is my opinion. Do not, Claim Jumper, don't come and sue me, please. Please. The thing about Cool Hand Luke's, it's almost like a revived Claim Jumper. And that, to me, is so cool. They give you, rather than giving you, say, nachos and salsa like that you would get in a Mexican restaurant, they come with biscuits in this pot of chili in a cast iron pot. It looks so cool, and it tastes amazing. And everything that they give you is really big portions and all that other stuff. So we're sitting there, we're having fun. I'm having a glass of wine. She's having a strawberry lemonade, and we have our little bonbon with us. And he's just loving it, eating everything that he possibly can, as usual, with my bonbon. So we're just engrossed in conversation. We talked everything from communicating with our oldest daughters and, well, really any of our kids. We talked from that to conspiracy theories, because we're total conspiracy theory nuts. I love it. It's great. And so conspiracy theories to my business, what's going on with my real estate, and some of the issues that's been just over and over and over happening with that. And I have a call with my real estate guy my property manager today, because one of my properties hasn't been rented in like 7 months. So I'm going to end up talking with him today and how to go about doing that. And we're having this great conversation. Partially because over the years, I've learned to listen to her and take her advice, especially when it came to my business. I used to think, like, what do you know? You don't know what I'm going through. Okay, cool. Yeah, we can talk about it. We'll talk about it, but I'm going to do my own thing. Well, I've learned that is really stupid. I've learned that is an idiotic way to think about the advice that she's giving me. In fact, 95% of the time, if not more, she is right, because she's going with her gut in how to communicate with people who might be my suppliers, it might be my employees, they might be clients, they might be my property managers, whatever. But she has such an ability. And guys, if you're a dude listening to this, I can tell you right now, your wife has some sort of mystical, natural intuition that you should be listening to because it is right most of the time. I'm not joking. It is seriously right most of the time. So, that being said, it's been really amazing, actually, to have these conversations. Well, prior to all of this, why am I talking about all of this? Prior to all of this, I had driven down to Southern California for one day and then driven back. So I woke up at 2 in the morning on Wednesday, drove to Southern California, met with a client down there, stayed overnight at the in-laws, woke up at 3:30, took off back up here at 4. And keep in mind, it's about 4.5 to 5 hours to go both ways. So I'm zonked when it came to the day. She had all of the kids that she was watching, and it was a really rough day. And I could have said, I'm too tired. She would have loved if I said I was too tired, just naturally, just because human nature you want to relax. You want to give some excuse not to go and do stuff. But we didn't, because we had already decided that this is extremely important. It is a non-negotiable. And have we missed a date night? Yes, we missed, I think, one date night in 90 days. But it's not really about It's not really about the consistency of date night. It's the decision. It's the decision that, look, if we don't do this, our marriage will fall apart. Eventually, it will fall apart. It was getting to a pretty bad state. It wasn't to the point where it would be divorce or anything like that, that I can, at least not that I can think of, but it would have been a very bad place. And so, we had made that decision that really this is a life or death of our marriage. So every time this comes up, it's a no-brainer. We had already said, this is life or death. We have to do it. And no matter how uncomfortable it is, we can literally drive 5 minutes to go to CVS or something like that, spend time shopping, get some milk. As long as it's together, we're talking, and that's it. We have to do it. We made that decision knowing that it is life or death. And because of that, partially because of the fear initially, partially because of the fear of breaking up or the fear of just having a horrible marriage, that was the initial kindling of it. But now, that was the initial kindling of the fire to do it in the first place. But now, it's out of love. We look forward to date nights every week. We look forward to date nights every week. It is like our saving grace. We love it. It is amazing to be able to just spend time by ourselves and with Bon for the time being until he can take a formula. He just does not like it. We can do things for ourselves. We can do things by ourselves and do basically whatever we want for 3 hours and enjoy ourselves. It is a saving grace. We look forward to it, and we've connected so much through it. It's so life-changing for our marriage. But that initial thing was, hey, we have to do this. Our marriage will be totally ruined if we don't. Maybe not now, maybe not tomorrow, but it will. It'll be messed up in a year, 2 years, 3 years, big time, possibly beyond repair. So let's do it. And so this is important because there are things right now, decisions that you need to make that are life or death. And it's not just about, I need to quit my job. Sometimes it might be. At one point in time when I quit my full-time job, I was going to have a nervous breakdown. But prior to that, I kept on saying, I need to quit my job. I have to quit my job. I have to quit my job. Toward that very end, I seriously would have had a nervous breakdown. And so there is something right now, a decision you need to make, whether it's for your kids, whether it's for your wife, whether it's for your husband, whether it's for your significant other, whether it's for you, whether it's for whomever or for whatever that you need to do right now that you've been putting off, or that you know something needs to change, you just don't know what it is. It's a life or death, or at least a life-changing decision. So I want you to think about that one thing right now. What is that one thing? We all have it. We all have it. If you don't know what it is, what I want you to do is I want you to go get the app Headspace on the Apple, whether it's on Google Play or whatever, and wherever you get Android stuff. I don't have Android. Or go to the Apple App Store, get the app Headspace, and start meditating. Make the decision to at least start meditating, because that will help bring space and clarity, so you can start seeing things much more clearly in your life and be able to make way better decisions, and to start noticing these life-changing decisions that you need to make. The other thing that I want you to do is, if you do know this life-changing situation, I want you to make the decision now to do something about it on a consistent basis. It's going to suck in the beginning. It's going to suck if you have to do something week after week after week after week after week. It will suck. I promise. It will suck. However, after a while, you're actually going to fall in love with it. And it's going to be something that you look forward to consistently and constantly. Okay? So, what is that one thing? If you don't know it yet, go grab the app Headspace on the Apple App Store and start learning how to meditate. It's easy. It's not woo-woo. I'm Christian. If you're Christian, you're like, oh no, that's bad. Literally, there's nothing. It is nothing. It's learning to live in the present. God wants us to live in the present. God wants us to live in the present moment. We live in the future. Future doesn't exist yet. We live in the past. All it is regret, and it still doesn't exist. The only moment you have right now is the present moment. That's where God wants you to be. It helps you to be in the present, helps you to get space to be able to even do anything that would remotely be Christian. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. For a little biblical reference there. If you do know that one thing, I want you to make the decision to do it now. It could be once a week, it could be once a month, it could be whatever. But make the decision now. Because if it is a matter of life or death, trust me, it will be much, much, much harder when it becomes unfixable, when it becomes unrepairable or irreparable. In a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, whenever it is, maybe a few months, maybe you're struggling right now. Make that decision, and it's going to change your life. All right, so this is Dean Soto with Freedom in 5 Minutes, Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast. If you haven't checked it out yet, go to freedomin5minutes.com. You're going to love it. Go to the freedomin5minutes.com. 7 raw secret episodes there. Totally raw. They don't even have the intro. That's how raw they are. But the information in them are astounding, amazing, and every other non-humble word there is to describe it. Because they are. It is really good. It's stuff that has affected me tremendously and will affect you tremendously. So, all right, I'm going to go take the dog to the vet. The vet will be opening in about 45 minutes, and hopefully we can get this dog totally clean and fixed and all this other stuff. So she is not a problem anymore. All right, see you guys in the next Freedom in 5 Minutes episode.